Well, welcome back to the Pastor Pod. We're so glad you've taken time to join us. And if you're new, I'm Josh. I'm here with my good friend Jay every week. And really, the Pastor Pod's all about encouraging leaders. And we just really have open, honest conversation. And we're glad you're here for our another episode. I think we're on episode 23 today, Jay.
We are on episode 23. It's going to be great. And if you're watching on YouTube, Josh, you have someone sitting next to you. We do want to introduce him, but that way no one is like, well, who's this other guy? Go ahead and real quickly, I would say introduce our guest today that we have on the Pastor Pod, because he's sitting there. If you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see that he's sitting there. So who's this guy sitting next to you that you are is a friend of yours from church there at the bridge?
Yeah, I'm so glad to have Sergei on the podcast today, and we've gotten to know each other over the last few months. He's a part of our church here in Venice, the Bridge Church, and he's from Ukraine, and it has a great family. And I wanted to invite him on today because of all that's happening over there. We wanted to get to know how we can pray and get to know just how we can serve and pray and support what God wants us to do as the church, the church and as people. So he was so gracious to come on today, kind of last minute. Yesterday I said, hey, would you be willing to come on? And he said, yeah, I'll make time for that.
Awesome.
And it's just to hear his stories of what's going on over there. I'm really glad you're here.
Yeah, pleasure of mine, and thanks a lot for that opportunity, especially now to be here with you today and to share a little bit about what's happening right now in Ukraine. And prayers are much needed. And again, thanks a lot for that opportunity.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So Sergei, we're looking forward to it. I can't wait to get to know you a little bit more. And so maybe if we start, if you want to share just a brief, maybe we can put the video to his testimony on the show notes as well. We'll put a link there, but there's a great video. It's about 6 minutes long, but Sergei, would you mind sharing a little bit of your story? Because as I was watching it, I was captivated by it. And I think many people would be interested to learn a little bit about your story. So if you would share a little bit of your story of, how God really transformed your life.
Yeah, sure. I grew up in like a good family, and but by the age of 16, when I graduated from school, I entered the higher education institution and just got caught up in the bad company, I would say. And immediately somehow I got involved in all the negative activities, and which led me to becoming a drug addict. And basically by the age of 19 years old, when I was 19 years old, I was already homeless, living on the streets, and my father died, which impacted me a lot, and I was totally hopeless, and the pretty sad thing that being just a young person, I was already willing to end my life as quick as possible and didn't see hope at all. But miraculously, when I was 22, a person on the street witnessed to me about God, about his mercy, and about the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, and that saved me and miraculously freed me from the addiction. And since then, it was 2002, so almost 20 years ago, and since then, yeah, my life radically changed. I'm married with 3 kids right now. And yeah, that's my story.
Awesome. Now, just want to make sure I understand. So did that all take place in Ukraine?
Yeah, in Ukraine, it all took place south of Ukraine, Odessa. That's the second largest port in Europe. And actually, that's where my mom is right now. And it's right now, there's columns of Russian tanks approaching Odessa, and Navy ships, only 11 Navy ships sent from Crimea to Odessa with as the military aggression unfolds right now.
Right.
I can't imagine what you've been feeling, this last week. And we had a time of prayer this past Sunday, as I'm sure you did, Jay, for the people there. And how are you feeling, and how has it been for you just being here and knowing she's there? And
Yeah, it's pretty devastating. And my wife, she had her birthday last Wednesday, and the time difference, I guess like 7 hours. We're 7 hours behind, and we just end the celebration. And I received a call from a friend that Russia attacked. They started with ballistic missiles fired all the like largest cities in Ukraine. And I called my mom, and I can send you the screenshot. And my mom was crying because she just heard a loud explosion not far away from her apartment building where she lives. And it was from one point, from one end, I was shocked, but I was anticipating that for a very long time already. And that's the reason why I'm here, because I came here after the military annexation of Crimea and the conflict which took place in 2014, the eastern territories of Ukraine. Also, we survived revolution 2013-14 in Kiev. So we already survived a lot during that time, and we're very lucky to actually end up in United States much earlier than the war broke out. But even in 2014, I knew that that's where we heading, and it's like 99% that this will happen. So it was very devastating, and still I'm heartbroken. And the saddest part, that it's becoming a routine right now. It's not just something that you're shocked, and now you're getting used to it, and that is not normal, and it's not
Right.
supposed to be normal.
Right. So when was the last time you talked to your mom? Because again, when was the last time you were able to talk to your mom?
Yeah, it was this morning. And
Okay.
I try to call her like 5-6 times during the day, because the possibility of losing the internet or the it's called like wireless
Right.
or mobile connection is pretty high. So
Pretty
I try
high.
as often as possible.
And is she doing is she okay right now? Is she doing okay now?
Yeah, she's okay now. And Odessa, so far, there's a group of saboteurs entering the large cities right now. But Odessa so far is doing much better than Kharkiv and Kiev. So comparing to those cities, Odessa is stable right now.
Okay. Well, again, it's heartbreaking. And as Christ followers, listen, I told you guys as we were kind of hooking all the gear up and all that for the podcast that, I struggle at times just being transparent, honest, open. That's what we do here on the Pastor Pod. Is you get frustrated. You're watching everything unfold, and you're trying to figure out where to get true, good information, and it's frustrating. You can be angry, you can be upset. And in all reality, though, as Christ followers, we have a responsibility to respond differently than the world around us. And so really what I want to just kind of maybe talk about a little bit, Josh and Sergey, is, what should the church's response be when we face things like this? And again, this is close to home. Josh, you have people in your church who are wrestling. Sergey's here and his mom is there. And, even the fact of him saying, I predicted this was going to happen, that uncertainty is there. And no doubt for Ukrainians that are living, they've always in the back of their mind even had possibly this thought that this was going to happen. So really, what is the church's response to when we face times where we have brothers and sisters in Ukraine and also in Russia, they're suffering, they're really hurting. What is our response here as a church?
maybe Josh can start, and I have my youngest child with me here, so maybe I'll put him in another room.
No,
I'll-
he's doing great.
Yeah.
He's doing fine. Don't you worry
He's
about
doing
it.
great. We
Don't
love
worry
him.
about it.
Okay, because he's laughing
I-
right now, watching.
Yeah, he's watching his
iPad.
iPad. So
Yeah, and it's a sensitive, serious topic, but we hear like a laugh, which is a good sign, you know.
Yes.
Right.
we're
Right.
glad your family's here safe. So
yeah.
that's a blessing. I think we are to hurt with those who hurt. We are to sympathize with the Big C Church and just with people. You know, as followers of Jesus, we're called to be peacemakers. We're called to be light in the darkness. And so, you know, I don't understand what it feels like that Sergei does. I've never been in his shoes. I didn't grow up there. I didn't face that. And I think for a lot of people in America, we don't know what it's like to face persecution. You know, we hear a lot. I mean, and I believe it's coming. I mean, if you study the end of the Bible, I think every country will face persecution. But I personally have been in mission trips. I've experienced other followers of Christ that have been persecuted. But in America, I think we're just kind of agitated or annoyed or we're inconvenienced. You know, we're not facing invasion. We're not facing you know, just basic persecution for being a Christian like in other countries. And so really that's why I wanted to invite Sergei on today, is because we want to understand how we can not only just say, hey, we're praying, and we are praying. We're praying daily for God to do something miraculous and to protect people, but we want to learn how we can live differently. Not only that, how we can support and bless leaders and churches that are helping with all of the people that are refugees, as well as helping the pastors and churches. And even I know one seminary in Western Ukraine that's turned the whole seminary into a hospital and a safe place for families. So that's what I want to know today. You know, I want to know how we can pray, sympathize, but then be people of action, and not just watch the news for a week and send out a couple tweets and feel good about it. And what do they call that when you just tweet and you don't do anything? What's the word? What's the new thing? Is it virtue signaling? Is that what
virtue signaling?
Yeah, where
exactly.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I care, and hey, I'm praying, and the Ukraine flag, and but I really think that we should actually do something actively. And so, you know, we're praying as a church. What does that look like? And then, so yes, I wanted to hear more and just how we can understand what it's like to be in your shoes.
Well, first of all, it's I think it's important just to be aware and just, of course, pray for peace, pray for the ceasefire, and pray so this conflict could be stopped as fast as possible, because really it's like full-scale invasion, and it's aggravating every hour. And despite the negotiation, we can clearly see that other countries right now are getting involved. Belarus, I have information that they already have that document already signed, that Belarus will also be invading Ukraine. I know that other countries were called to invade, like Kazakhstan, but so far they refused. But they have obligations with Russia, so we might end up having many more countries involved in this conflict. So it's not just some minor issue somewhere far away. So, and we need to be first, we need to be aware of that, of the scale of this event. So pray for peace, and if you don't know anything, if you don't have any like detailed information, yeah, just pray for peace and for God's mercy, and maybe God will put on your heart to know more about this, and then you can be more specific in your prayers. And second thing, of course, it's good not only to pray, but to seek for opportunities how you can actually express your faith, and not only do like virtue signaling. And I'm not saying that the prayer is virtue signal, but I'm mostly saying that you pray, but then your activities are only like Facebook activities or like social media posts then if you want to do more than that, there's plenty of information. Just try to find, or maybe organize a group in your church to find a verified group of people or charity or some other organizations. There's plenty of them right now, where you can actually be more efficient with your finances, I guess, and resources. Because right now, according to New York Times, the scale of that humanitarian crisis in Europe is 7 million people expected to become refugees in Eastern and actually they will go further to the Western Europe right now from Ukraine. Just 2 days, during this 2 days, 350,000 people crossed the border. But the conflict is right now, as we see realistically, it's far from being over. And right now, the tendencies are it's only getting worse and more serious. But I believe in God's miracle, so He can stop this war today if we pray. And like what's happened with Nineveh, right? There was God wrath upon that city, but they actually repented, and the situation changed like this. So we really believe in that. But if you want to help, you can help with refugees right now, because mostly like help refugees, because right now only children and women being allowed to escape,
right,
to leave, yeah, and old men are drafted to go and fight. So basically it's helpless group of people. They don't know what to do. They don't have any finances at all. Europe is already over flooded with Syrian refugees, Afghan refugees, refugees from Northern Africa, and they already don't have resources or any even like strategies how to handle this. And yeah, and I already I have some contacts I can provide. It's like verified organizations and churches. I know them personally, for some of them over 15 years, some of them more than 20 years, and they're doing tremendous amount of work helping those refugees.
And where are those churches located that you're making reference to? Whereabouts are they located?
Yes, so one of them is in Krakow, Poland. The other church is in Bulgaria, and it in Moldova. It's not a church. It's the leadership of the Messianic Church in Odessa, my hometown, and that's where my mother is right now. By the way, it was a huge, dense Jewish population there. Always Odessa. Odessa is like 2 million people city. It's pretty large. And so the pastors of Messianic congregation, they managed to escape to Moldova. And right now they're at the border, involved in like refugees resettlement and provision with food and with other needs.
Wow. Man, that's powerful. I think there's a lot to process. You know, I've been tracking the news and following and listening to Sergei, and we spent some time after each service on Sunday praying, not only during the service, but circling up and hearing the stories, not only Sergei's, but other people in our church, and how they're connected and how they've walked through persecution. And so just, I've been moved by it, that we have people like Sergei that have walked through a lot of difficult times, but God's grace is all over his life. And so he just started a new small group, and the small group's full of, tell us about your new small group started, and it includes, you know, not only Ukrainians, but
Ukrainians and Russians. And so we moved recently from California, and you know, the whole country's on the move right now.
They're all coming here
They all coming here
to Florida.
Right. So, and actually, so the church is in Venice, but there's this city of Northport close by. And just to give you a perspective, so 20% of Northport Slavics, 20% of the whole entire population. So when I just started the small group, and I do believe in small groups, and I support that vision of the church a lot. The first two Sundays we already had like 15 people showed up. So,
That's
and
awesome.
right now, as they are moving here, I expect that there will be a large number of Ukrainians and Russians attending church. So far, there's also some negative sides within the community because, of course, Ukrainians, they're devastated and they repost a lot of social media posts, and I can understand that, but some people, they are heartbroken and they express that, and they send their very negative vibes towards Russians, but it's like against the aggression, against the Russian government, but they just say they call them just Russians in general. And of course, Russians, they are not happy with that, and then they trying to defend themselves, and we already see a lot of hatred is on the rise in social media within the Slavic community, as it was in 2014 and 15. It was a huge like big thing here, even here in America, but now we have a full-scale war, so now it's much worse. And we already see people in Ukrainian flag on their Facebook profile, and other people trying to put their Russian flag, which creates a division. And of course, some people, they don't, like, for example, some Russian people, they don't have families there, and they watch only Russian news because they don't speak Ukrainian. And the propaganda is mind-blowing. Basically, they're
not seeing reality.
They're not seeing the reality.
My wife and I've had lots of conversations about this, and I love, I'm actually overjoyed that, when you're talking about your small group and you're talking about how, those from Russia and those from Ukraine coming together, studying God's word together. There's something beautiful about the gospel and what it does when it unites people from two different countries. And again, my wife was also talking to me, and she's like, it's hard to pull all politics aside because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of layers to a war, and we get that. But we're watching news and we're watching everything that's taking place, and it is horrible what's taking place in Ukraine, but there is also innocent individuals and people who are in Russia who are getting persecuted for standing up and opposing the war. There's innocent people who are getting punished because of the economic things that are taking
repercussions
of everything. And so although we do need to be praying for those that are being persecuted in Ukraine, there is a side as well to where we have innocent individuals who are being hurt also in the country that is actually doing the damage to Ukraine. And it really is a matter of prayer, of saying, God, these are innocent people. There are people who are losing their lives. And without a relationship with Jesus, we know what that means. And it's heartbreaking just to watch it all. And so I love the aspect of what I'm hearing you say about this small group and pulling people together from different countries that maybe, have different views on things or whatever it may be. But it's just beautiful because it shows the power of what the gospel can do. And this is the same one that we're calling on to bring peace and comfort to those that are hurting and mourning right now. And so this is huge. And Sergei, I'm just thankful for God's mercy in your life, as you shared from, early on, how God has done a great work in your life. And it's the beautiful thing of who would have thought a young man who feel like he has lost it all, considering taking his own life, is now leading a small group in Florida that is reaching across, difference of backgrounds and history, and sharing about this amazing love of who Christ is. It's a beautiful thing of what God can do. And we need not lose track of that as believers, of what God is capable of doing. And so when we're praying to an almighty and powerful God. And I think that's just beautiful and mind blowing in itself. Of that, that's really what we're rallying behind. And so, Josh, any final thoughts as we kind of wrap up today?
This has been great. Thank you so much, Sergei. We just appreciate your heart, and we're going to share your YouTube video of your testimony. So if you're tracking along, we want to put that on our blog. We'll share it on social media, but just to share, just a little bit more of your story.
Of course.
And we appreciate your time today. Do you have any final kind of encouragements to everybody listening today?
First of all, I want to apologize for not having this like smiley face. It's not only because of everything what's going on, but still, even as like Slavic peoples, our muscles are a little bit different, because like growing up in Soviet Union, we're not smiling a lot, and it looks tense, but I'm a very friendly person, so it's not like I'm.
Listen, I'm gonna come hang out with Josh, and I'm gonna tell him, hey, I want to hang out with Sergei. I'm just gonna say, you didn't offend me at all. I'm ready to hang out.
Not at all.
I'm ready to hang out. So don't take that at all.
And please, I just encourage you to pray for peace, and pray for families in Ukraine, so God will protect them, and especially for families which are separated right now. Men are fighting and they don't even know how to use weapons, but they are, and their families right now in Europe alone. Also pray for soldiers, even for Russian troops, because some of them, they are 18-year-old kids, like compulsory military service, just sent there. Some of them are not even aware that they are in Ukraine, and they were told that they're sent to some maneuvers, but they're find themselves at the very front, like combat in Ukraine, in other state. So pray for that situation, and pray for America as well, because right now we can see that the global picture is changing every day, and I don't want to start a whole another conversation of that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So please just be aware, and please not be caught up in that like social media hatred,
right?
And try to be a peacemakers, not only in your prayers, but in your relationships with other people, maybe from Slavic communities who are involved in all that. And I really appreciate your willingness to talk about that and to dedicate the podcast on that topic. And please participate. We will provide all the links. Actually, people being there, verified, and actually the whole financial aid will go directly towards refugees' needs, and it's there will be no for example, like salaries or like office rent included in that. So that's the most efficient right now way to help.
So we'll be sure to drop all of those links in the show notes. So if you're watching on if you're listening on Spotify, the notes are right there. You can open up Spotify; they'll be right there. It'll be on our blog and our website, thepastorpod.com. And Josh, it's been great conversation, a heavy conversation, not wanting to make light of all that's taking place, very heavy conversation. But I'm glad that we can also look to who we're calling upon and the hope that we find in Jesus. So Sergei, again, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your day to be here and share. For those listening, if you want to learn more, again, go to our website, thepastorpod.com. You can reach out to us, thepastorpod@gmail.com. And again, we look forward to meeting with you, hanging out with you each and every week here on the Pastor Pod. From Sergei, Josh, and myself, have a great rest of your week.